We're no longer running into that level. What is that telling us? This says, hey everybody, hope you had a good trading day. It was a crazy one to say the least. So yesterday we went through a bunch of names, went through 5 names. Some of those names are going to be duplicated tonight. And I want to talk a little bit about why. Stay to the end, because I just want to show this trigger that you need to watch before you start putting on stocks tomorrow. But I want to wrap it into the indexes. So we're just going to start with AMD. AMD ran the gambit today, gap filled all the way down. Look at this on a 15-minute. Opens up, shakes everybody out. Get rid of the indicators and just take a look at this. It's crazy. Comes all the way down and gap fills. Looks like it's going to shake out and possibly complete the gap down to the close. Doesn't do that. Reverses right here. And just kind of goes sideways. And then we just have the JPAL move where JPAL comes out and starts talking about 75 basis points is crazy. Pretty much all that market had to hear so that they know that they can estimate that we're really looking at 50 basis points no matter what people like Bullard or Brainerd come out and say. He's in control and he's letting the world know that he's in control. So that speech today was very helpful to the whole market. And we'll get into the bond market at the end of this as well. We see this line right here? As soon as we broke, we went. More importantly is not just looking at this because of the great earnings they had, but this bar is essentially a dragonfly. It's not perfect dragonfly because you're not right where the open and close are near the high. But when you have a dragonfly and you're on the bottom of a chart, you really want to pay attention. Usually you'll find these on the other side, but when you have something like this powerful, and I just want to point out this volume. Look at this volume. When was the last time you had volume like that? It was back here. Look at the move that you had last time you had volume like this. Get right into that volume so you can see it. So last time we had a move like this, we had a 36% move. What made that move? Earnings made that move. Okay, same soup reheated. So I think that when you start seeing patterns like this, you have to pay attention. Now, completely different kind of market, right? We were in an uptrend back then. Now we're in a downtrend. But to think that this can't happen after how great the report was, that's just silly. So just if you didn't do anything with it today, I would not rule it out. You are still in a downtrend. So watch how you get when you get to this 50-day. But all you're looking is for just up and over. You're just looking for 99.69. If you can get over that, I think that it can push. Now, everyone's going to be pretty familiar with Tesla. What we should be really focused on with Tesla are 2 key things that it did today. Number 1, this is a bear flag. This was the height of the bear flag, just the flag part itself. We flipped that. We also closed over the 50-day for the first time in 2 weeks, as we can clearly see here, right? This is setting us up for a test of this 975 level, which I think can happen tomorrow. Now, all you're looking for is just to pop over 955, see how it responds to 975, because if it does, then we could get to the top of the flagpole, which would be 1,000. That would not be out of character to be there by Friday, go into options expiration. And that's what we're looking for. Again, we're looking to profit from the trades based upon what happened today with the market. And we'll get into the indexes in a bit. But there's something going on that you just need to be aware of. And just remember this date because we'll become more specific at the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click all notifications because what we go over here is timely. And look in the featured channels because there's also a clips channel now. See this line right here? Look how you flip that. Just remember that date, April 29th, and how you have a higher high right here, because that's going to become important. Now, Starbucks had an okay quarter. It was not great. My sense of this is that we're going to roll right back down. If you look at what's going on here, yes, you had short covering today. Yes, you spiked up on that, right? Because all these people were short this entire time. Earnings hit, and the stock goes higher because it's not a disaster. I'm not suggesting they're going out of business, but this is a massively long downtrend. And all we're looking to do is see some patterns complete, right? Every single time we get to the 21-day, what happens? We roll. It takes a couple days, but that's what happens. If we don't, we get to the 50. So this is going to be twofold for those that are longer term. If you're longer term and you get up to this 84.43 or the 50-day, I would strongly suggest looking at putting the short on there. Okay, nothing's going to change overnight on this company. The fundamentals in the story are not going to change. So investors, especially long-term investors, are going to want to sell. They use the 50-day. If you get below the close here, right, I would look at the close. If you get below that close, which is 81.65 tomorrow, I would look at shorting just off that close and use 82.87 as your stop. Okay, that gets you in the short for $1. And if you're wrong, you make a higher high and you can look at re-entering that short right here. One of the big things I see newer traders do wrong is step away from a trade after they get stopped out once. I get stopped out all the time and I re-enter the trade, and it's one of the reasons why I'm consistently profitable, because I don't give the idea away because the first time it didn't work. It's really important to understand that concept. So, you might want to listen to that again. Now, AMR has earnings tomorrow. I'm putting it out there so that people are aware of this and you can watch this. Now, I don't know if AMR is going to be similar to, a Arch, which just absolutely crushed, right? This was Arch on earnings, okay? Or I don't know if it's going to be a BTU, but you need to watch this tomorrow. Well, that's definitely not right. Hold on one second here. So see how you broke here? You can't get over the 50. So you have to kind of think about, well, what are we going to have here? What kind of trade are we going to have? Well, I'd like to have the kind that looks more like Arch than that, right? I mean, that would make sense, but they're in the same field. So just keep aware of this. I think it's really important to understand AMR and to look at this. The energy is not going away. This whole energy trade is not going away. And we're going to get into this today. These things are just going to be cash cows. There's really no other way to say it. So let's just focus on wrapping this up. And I do want to do the indexes, but I get a lot of comments. And I appreciate the comments. And it's really important to me that you like these videos if you want them to continue and you want to see the content that you want. And also comment on them so I know what I'm doing as far as making the content that you find helpful. One of the comments is, could you please do more smaller price stocks? Because sometimes I'll do the bookings of the world and things along those lines, which had great earnings tonight, by the way. It's trading higher after hours. But what we're going to focus on is something like this. So VTNR is just a little company in Houston. It's one we actually traded back here off this break and did fairly well with the gap up. So all we're looking to do is to get involved here. And why? It's in the right space. You're in energy. Anything in energy is going to move. Even though they're in more of the oil refinery space and recyclable space, it's still going to move. You have a long-legged doji right here, which signifies uncertainty. Flipping that doji solidifies that uncertainty. We are now certain of which way we're going, right? Or so we think. So watch that 1130 level. If we can flip that, it could go. And I just want to touch base here. There are 3.5 days of short covering in this name right now. The short interest is up 145% year to date, okay? And over 30% of the float is short right now. So this can absolutely move if you get over this wick. Because if I'm short, I put on my short cap, right? If I get over that wick, do I want to stay short? Very simple answer. The answer is no. No, I don't. So I'm going to want to cover, and I'm not going to be the only one. So just watch that 1130 level, okay? It's really important. Now, this TQQ, we might as well jump into this now. I think there's a trade here, and I think that it could trade right up to this 21 day, and then you're gonna have to see how you act. You can see what happened last time we got and broke that level, right? This is what we're dealing with. This is what we have now. So I do think that it's possible. I would really focus on the volume on the TQQ today. This is the second highest volume that we've had all year on TQQ. Why is that important? Well, what we're looking for patterns, right? Patterns replicate. Why do patterns replicate? Because it's human behavior. That's all it is. Just think of it that way. So if I panicked here and then I went sideways for 3-4 days waiting for the inevitable flim-flam break and I didn't get it, very similar to what we could be looking at here, this could be setting me up for a trade. And that's what I think they're setting us up for. So if we can flip a certain level, and I'll show you the level on the Qs because you want to make sure you flip it on the Qs, not just on TQQ. I think you can get up to here and test this level. That's $3-4. Then you can see if it holds, gets to the 48.21 and work your way up, right? They're not going to ring a bell at the bottom. I'm not saying that this is the bottom, although there is this very interesting pattern of undercut, right? Which does set you up to start the double bottoming process. And you just went down over 15% and now you're back over the neckline. So there are some things here we should look at. We should really focus on here. So if we just focus it on the Qs, we're familiar with this being the left shoulder, this being the head, this being the right shoulder. Now let's just look at that break, right? There's your break. Now, look at where you're sitting. Look at this on an hourly. This is the Qs, and let's look at this on an hourly. One of the comments was, I listen to you when I am driving. So if you can not use pronouns and just use the symbols, that would be helpful. So here you are, Q, boom, boom. Got it? Okay. So what we're going to see here is on this hourly, how you're running right into that level. Now, what did I show earlier on Tesla on the hourly? Okay. I showed how on the April 29th date, which I just showed, we're no longer running into that level. What is that telling us? This has higher relative strength than the NASDAQ. That's one of the reasons why you want to play the name. But if we can flip up and over this level, this would be the first higher high that we have had in the NASDAQ since this began on March 29th. Wouldn't that be nice? So there are signs here that this double bottom undercut could give us an hourly formal double bottom. And that's really important for us to take a look at. One could even argue that this is an inverse head and shoulders with a left shoulder here. Here's my upside down head, and here's my right shoulder. And then here would be my neckline if I was standing on my head. So you can kind of see that, right? So just focus on that. But let's take a look at what's more important than that, okay? VIX absolutely imploding. So now it's smart to start looking at options again. Optimally, you want to do it at 20. You certainly didn't want to do it up here. And if you've been trading options for the past 3 days, you've gotten clobbered and you don't know why. This is why. Implied volatility, crushing. So I want to focus on that. I do want to focus on this more than anything else. Energy's breaking out. Okay, you just need to look at the energy names. It's just that simple. This trade's not going away. Russia, the Ukraine war is not going away. Demand for oil and supply is not going away. Shanghai is going to open up again. That's going to be an issue. Focus on that. The stocks could be in a downtrend and still go up 11%. Okay, so keep that in mind. AMD had great earnings, but let's bring this home with this. So we never stayed over 3%. We got over 3% in the newsletter last night. I put equities will sell down. What happened? We got over the 3, equity sold down. We rallied on JPAL, being very positive actually towards equity markets. And then we just reversed. So now we have to watch what happens here and see if we can break this 272. But we are setting up for a short-term rally across the board. So I hope you find this helpful. Remember, trade to win tomorrow. If you need anything, reach out.